So have you guys been looking for a build that can shred players in the dark zone? Well, this is the build for you. It has enough armor to give you that survivability when you need it, but it has the damage to drop enemies before they have a chance. And no, we aren't using double companion. So this build will still be very effective once they fix double companion. It might even be more effective. This is probably one of my favorite DPS builds for the dark zone. And I'm not talking about running all reds either, because we sit in about 1.5 million armor on this build. So if you want something that will allow you to work well in group play and even work well solo, this is my go-to build. Now, I will tell you, when you do run 1.5 million armor, obviously it's a lot different than running something that has unbreakable with 2 million armor or 1.9 million armor, however you run it, right? You have to play this one, pick and choose your battles, and just figure out how you're going to drop the enemies. But the thing with this build is it has a lot of damage, as you saw at the very beginning with group play, and as you're seeing now. This is typically a version of this build is what I like running in the dark zone. It's kind of my go-to, and hopefully once they fix double companion, you actually start to see more of this type of build, because people are going to be so excited or going to be so used to hitting very hard that they're going to want to build that hits hard. And this right here 100% is going to be that build right now. This is all built around play styles. Remember, every build is built around a play style, and this build isn't meant to face tank 3-4 enemies at once. So you have to have a certain play style or figure out how you play this build so you can pull off these manhunts or pull off manhunts with your teammates. But yeah, hopefully you guys seen enough. Let's get into the build so you guys can see what this can do. So for the build, we are running the technician specialization. The reason why is because this is going to allow us to use the link laser pointer, and what that is that's going to be able to allow us to pulse the enemies without having to run a pulse. So definitely something I enjoy running when I'm running a spotter type build, just for the fact that I don't have to worry about using a pulse or the pulse being down and not gaining that damage, especially since this build is built around spotter and flatline. So we have the Kingbreaker as our weapon on this build. We're sitting about 1.5 million armor. We have 147,000 total damage, 650 RPM, 50 in the mag, and then look, we have 23 expertise on this. Yes, we do, but don't worry, even if you don't have 23, it will still hit hard. You're just not going to hit as hard. So if you have 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you guys have, it will still hit hard. It's just not going to hit, obviously, if you have 23. We have assault rifle damage on here, health, and then we have damage targets out of cover, and then we have perfect flatline, amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulse enemies. Now every 2 kills it applies pulse to the next enemy hit, so it's kind of cool, right? But perfect flatline, an amazing talent. You can only get it on the Kingbreaker and an LMG, but obviously the Kingbreaker is the one we're using. Now we have crit chance on here on the scope. We have 20 rounds plus a negative 10% reload speed in the magazine. We have the link laser pointer, and then we have 5% crit chance on the muzzle brake. For our secondary, we have a FAMAS. Ideally, you can run a FAMAS, you can run the St. Elmo's engine, you can run whatever you want. It's really up to you. I'm gonna let you guys decide. If you do want to go with a FAMAS, obviously you guys know most of you guys probably run Optimus by now, and then obviously damage targets out of cover on it. If you want to run the St. Elmo's engine, well, it's just whatever your roles are. So for the build, we are going with the Coyote mask. I love the Coyote mask in group play. If no one is in your team is running it, it's always good to have at least one, so I don't mind running it. I sacrifice a little bit of armor for it, so it doesn't really bother me too much. We have weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, critical hit chance on the mod, and then obviously you guys know by now, hopefully, why this is so good, because 0 to 15 meters, I'm getting 25% critical hit damage. 15 to 25 meters, I'm getting 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance. And anything over 25 meters is 25 critical hit chance. Ideally, you're usually within 0 to 15 and 15 to 25. So your teammates are also going to benefit from this buff. That's what's really cool, because you and all allies gain the bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you hit. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully you guys enjoy that in group play. I know my team does. Now for the chest piece, we're running the closer chest piece. We have 5% total armor from the one piece. We have armor on here. We have critical hit damage, we have critical chance, and we have a 12% critical hit damage mod. Then we have perfect spotter. What this is going to do is going to amplify total weapon damage and skill damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. So this actually works great on hard-hitting spotter builds like this. For the holster, we're running the Fenris holster. This is gonna have assault rifle damage. We have 15% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, and 6% critical hit chance. For the knee pads, we are running the Foxberry knee pads. This is gonna give us armor, 8% damage strikes out of cover. So we're gonna have 18% total damage strikes out of cover on the build because of the weapon in here. And then we have 12% critical hit damage. For our gloves, we are running the contracted gloves. So we have armor on here. We have damage to armor 8% and 12% critical hit damage. And then for the backpack, I am running the Grupo Soma backpack. So we're gonna have 15% critical hit damage. We have weapon damage on here, critical hit damage, critical chance, and 12% critical hit damage. If you feel like 1.5 is a little too many reds for you, well, you could roll another armor core on any of these and be at like 1.7. So it's really up to you. Now, I do have companion on this. While you are within 5 meters of an ally or skill, total weapon damage is increased by 15%. You could also put vigilance here. I personally like companion because even if you're taking damage, it will not deactivate as long as you have an ally or skill, right? So that's what's actually really good about this talent. I've used this in the past. I go back and forth between vigilance and this just depending on my playstyle, but I have a few builds with this, a few builds with vigilance. It's really up to you, but companion to me works really great, especially if I'm taking damage. I'm still putting out that 15% increased weapon damage. For the skills, really it's up to you, right? Like personally in PvP, I like running the decoy or I run a scanner pulse for the team. And then also since I'm running some type of companion, right? So I'm running the backpack, I need to have either the defender drone or you see the explosive seeker mines. Either one of these is really up to you. If you look at our stats, we're sitting at 50% crit chance. And then obviously remember, if we find anybody 15 to 25 meters with the mask, we'll be exactly at 60%. Remember, anything between under 15 meters, we get another 25% on top of it's 156% critical damage, or 10% anything 15 to 25. So we'll have either 25% more or 10% more, which is actually really good on a build like this that already hits. We have 75% headshot damage, 8% armor damage, plus that 18% damage strikes out of cover, and then 21% health damage. So this 100% is the reason why this build hits. One of my favorite PvP builds. I sometimes add some armor. I sometimes add more reds, like if I need to. This is personally my go-to. I run this in solo or in group play. You can run it either way you want. Definitely one of my favorite PvP builds in the game, and it's been like that for a minute now. So if you guys are looking for a build that isn't using something like double companion, this right here will still put out an insane amount of damage that I think a lot of you guys will enjoy. So have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, Nothing But Skills out. Take it easy, everybody.